In this video, I'm going to show you how to build layers to create depth on this little piggy's nose using pyrography, but we're not going to be using any outlines. This is a short section taken from one of my Phoenix art classes, so we're not going to be going through the whole pig today, we're just going to be looking at the nose, because it's a lovely little area for practicing shape, soft shadows and darker values. Here what I'm doing is I'm using the wider part of the nib to gently put down a base layer. So I've gone over the whole nose with a base layer. Next I'm going to be using more of the tip and I'm going to twist the pen away from me and I'm going to pull down. Don't mistake this for a hard line. This is a soft edge. This is a shading edge. We always look at where the darker values sit and we don't want to burn the whole thing. We want to build the shadows up slowly. Now what I'm doing is I'm using the triangle bit of the tip and I was doing circular motions, crumbling, build up those shadows. I'm going to do the same on the other side of the other nostril. Using the wide edge, I'm going to pull out. I'm going to start in the dark and pull out. And this, I'm going to use this side to go the opposite way. So I'm going to twist it towards me and then push it out the opposite way, starting in the dark and pushing out. The nostrils need to be dark, but I am still building them up really carefully. If I go too heavy too soon, they'll just look like two black holes and we don't want that. I'm building up the shadows around them. You can see that I've left some of the lighter areas in there in the middle, and that is important, leaving some of the wood showing or some of the wood with a few layers on. It helps to make the nose feel real and rounded. So you can see the contrast between the darker shades and the lighter center, and it gives it its shape. And gently, feather soft touch, building these layers up all around. The first sort of quarter of this tip. I'm placing down in the dark area and pushing upward. That's helping to create a gradient. By starting in the darker area first, it means that if you're a little bit wobbly and you get a few burn blobs, they're in the darker area, so it doesn't matter. And now I'm just skirting over that line there just to neaten it up. I'm going to do the same on this side of the nose, starting on that edge and pulling inwards. Now I'm neatening the line up. So here I'm using the triangle bit and I'm doing those small tiny circles, scrumbling. Building a few of these layers up just a little bit more. I'm just using the very tip and I'm tapping down to add a couple of details here. Now they stick out a little bit, so I'm going to shade over the top of them to blend them in a little bit. I always find that shading over the top, once you've put some shading over the top of some details, blend them in, really works. Again, tapping down these details up here to build up that texture. Because I don't want it one flat colour, I want the texture. And again, adding that shade layer over the top blend it. One of the biggest mistakes that I see often is adding lots and lots of details before the values are right. If the nose still looks flat, more details won't fix it. It's annoying, but it's true. So go back to your shadows first and work on those, and work on the contrast, so the difference between the lights and the darks. Then add the detail. And that pendulum motion, you may have heard it as the aeroplane motion, and it's just the swinging backwards and forwards. Using the edge of this tip, and I'm going to twist it towards me. And I'm going to add that darker value just there. Back to tapping down on the very tip. Just be careful you don't push too hard. You don't want to sink into the wood. Using the wide shade again for that soft layer. Now I was fine with this tip. The wide, when I use the wide edge, it gives me a really gentle soft burn. Adding in a few of the details. I'm going to tap with the tip. Add some of the details up here. The biggest mistake is adding all the details before the values are right. You need to make sure that the values are right first, and the tiny marks are not doing the heavy lifting. You want the values and the contrast to do the heavy lifting, and you just add the details are just the finishing touches. Now this next bit is where the nose really starts to come forward. If you watch, you can see what happens as I darken around the side of the nose rather than just putting an outline in. I'm building up the layers carefully. I don't want to go in with a really dark layer straight away. I want to build it up gradually. It gives me more control. The last thing that I want you to notice is how little detail is actually needed once the values are working properly. The nostrils, the soft shadows, and those few little texture marks are doing the job.